Hey, it's AK here with Chaos Fab Shop, and one of the questions I get asked all the time is, what's your favorite Jeep? Which one is your favorite? Which one would you pick? What would you choose? And for me, my answer is it depends on what you're going to do with it. But if I had to pick one Jeep that was my favorite overall, it's a sleeper build, and it's an LJ, something like this. Now, a lot of people look at this old LJ that's here, and it's on little 32, 33-inch tires and some all-terrains. And then you take a look through the rest of the shop at all of this king coilovers. We got king coilovers and bypasses on that one over there, hydraulic bump stops, all of this stuff. Everything that's in here is on long travel suspension. But what I love about this little guy right here is the geometry is perfect. You can drive it like a rally car. We can drive it in four-wheel drive at any speed, and we can throw it into corners and it stays flat because of how we've set up the suspension on this. It's a Teraflex LCG long arm. We're running at about 2.5 inches of lift, and we're running Falcon shocks on this thing. Now, this has a triangulated 4-link suspension, long arm suspension that's underneath there. And we're gonna take this out to the ramp and flex this thing out. I love that we can drive this anywhere. I love that we can show up to any trail, and it is very unassuming. The guys with the bigger Jeeps on 37s and 40s will laugh at it like, what are you gonna do with this little guy? But when you see this thing flex, and when you see the way this thing drives, and when you see the way it reacts and the way it performs on the trails, the guys with the big 37s and the 40s, by lunchtime, they're probably gonna have some tears as to why they can't lose this little LJ. So it's about how you set it up. The bottom of this thing is completely skid plated. The axles that are in here are a Dana 44 axle, but they've been upgraded with heavy wall housings. They've also been upgraded to 35 spline. So there's 35 spline RCV axle shafts in the front of this thing on a 33-inch tire. We can hammer down on this as hard as we want to, and the engine doesn't make enough power to break any of the things that we've done. So that means that you can drive this thing anywhere you want to in the country, wheel any trails that you want to in the country, and drive it home as well. So this is one of my favorite builds. I like that it doesn't have all the flashy stuff on it. I like that it looks like a very unassuming LJ, and I'm gonna show you the build that we did on this thing. Follow me. Things that I really like about this. We've got a G2 Dana 44 in there, and we were able to rotate the knuckles so that we get more caster to it. We've got a Teraflex long arm on this, so if you take a look at it, the arms are flat. The skid plate is flat. We're still gonna add an engine skid plate to the bottom of this thing to complete it out. We've got Tom Woods drive shafts on it, front and rear, Dana 44 rear ARB lockers, 35 spline axle shafts. The exhaust that we did in here is all stainless. It's all TIG welded, V-band clamp. We put a noise canceling resonator right here that sends a counter frequency to exactly tune out all of the drone that's inside of this thing. So it's got a nice sound from the outside, but there's no drone inside of the cab. So we'll start it up and we'll let you hear it. You can hear what it sounds like from the outside and then what it sounds like from the inside. Now, one of the reasons I love this Teraflex kit, these upper control arms that are right there, I'm gonna come to this frame rail right here. On these upper control arms, that bracket grabs the outside all the way around to the inside. And when we weld these on, we weld them on all the way. The other thing that I really like is how it's flat and these are recessed inside of there, but we can still pull this skid plate off and the control arms will still stay on there. So we don't have to drop the control arms if we want to get in and service the transfer case. Now, in the instructions, it says to just do 1 inch of weld, and we go ahead and weld everything all the way, preheat it, post-heat it, take the time to do it right. This LCG kit from Teraflex, one of my absolute favorites. I love the LJ builds. I love how simple they are. I love that I can get parts to fix this from any parts store anywhere in the country. I also love that everything that I would need to work on this LJ, I can get in a $200 Lowe's toolkit, and I can keep it in the back of there. It's just really simple. I love that it's got a 6-speed in it. Anywhere that I wanted to go in the country, I can do it in this LJ and make these other Jeeps wish they had one. We're gonna take this thing out and look at how low it is. Look at how low the center of gravity is. We're gonna take it out and we're gonna flex this thing out.
Shorty?
Yeah. All right. So I want you to take a look at this, and let's come around here to the back side. Think about every time you go to an RTI competition, what you see with these short arm Jeeps, especially the TJs, actually anything with short arms. When these axles flex, they steer. So if you come around and you look at this axle, and actually you can see it even better on this side. If you look at the direction of wheel travel here compared to the body, we're at full flex, and the tires and the axles are still going in the same direction of travel, which means that we can go to this position while we're screaming down the trail, and the steering wheel won't move. We can still go straight. So it doesn't have the axle steer that a lot of these short arm Jeeps do. Look back through the pictures. Look back through the flex competitions. When they flex out, these axles will steer, which means that every time there's an imperfection in the road, every time the body of the Jeep rolls just a little bit, your Jeep is going to steer without any input from the steering wheel, versus this one that's going to go straight, even if it goes to full flex at speed. So this is one of the things that I really like, but take a look also. We've got this much flex on little 32, 33-inch tires. And when you tune these things right, and you've got good shocks and you've got good springs, it really doesn't matter if you lift a tire in the air. You're going so fast, you just lift it and you just carry a tire. Look at the Grand Cherokees, look at the Porsches. Everybody says these IFS vehicles can't wheel. Everybody says, you know, there's no way you can take that out on the trail. But also take a look at what the side-by-sides are doing. It's okay to lift a tire. The other 3 tires have traction on there. So, same thing with this one. If I had to pick something that I wanted to use, and it was the only Jeep that I could have, this would be it. I might consider putting a diesel in it, but really what I want to hear is, what do you like and why? What's your favorite Jeep and why? I know I'm going to hear a whole lot of diesel comments inside of there, but post up in the comments below, subscribe, hit the bell, tell us what you love.